Yes, I get that a lot. Mr. Henry, I want to start a microfinance bank. I don't know what I'm to do. I don't know what funds it will involve. I don't know. The first thing I ask them is, you want to start a lending business? You have any idea what you're going into? You want to start a microfinance bank or a microfinance institution? Because it has to start with that. Yes, they are both lending, but they offer two different structures. For a microfinance bank, you are authorized to actually do five major things. That's micro savings, micro lending, micro insurance, micro leasing, and micro transfers, which is remittance and payment. But for a microfinance institution, you are not limited to do a micro savings. So you, first of all, if you want to go into the microfinance business, you first of all need to know if you want to run a microfinance bank or you want to run a microfinance institution, because they have, okay, let me just give Nigeria for example. They have two regulatory bodies. For the microfinance bank, it's being regulated by the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, while MFI's microfinance institution is being managed by the state government. So you first of all need to know what you want to do. Okay? The second thing you need to know is that you need to have a business plan even before you start your registration. Your business plan, it makes you focus on what you really want to do, the sectors you want to focus on. You want to focus on payroll lending. You want to focus on buy now, pay later. You want to focus on retail microloans. You want to focus on SME. You want to do fintech. Do you want to, who's your target market? Is it schools? Is it business? Is it, just look at who you first of all want to serve. That will give you an idea of the business plan you need to prepare. Okay. So if you have your business plan, that's the first direction to know where you're going. Then the second thing you now need to do is to have a business registered. Okay, just like I said, if you are going to run a microfinance bank, you don't just go straight to register. You have to have that approved, the name approved from CBN before you go down to CAC. So there are intricacies along with it. And another thing you should learn to do, you need to read. You need to read, study the landscape of your country, know what they want, know what customers really want. As I speak, there are influx of microfinance banks and institutions everywhere. So don't think you're going to be offering something that is automatically unique to what has been offered there. Your market penetration depends on what you are offering and how you are offering it. Yes, you might have competitors that are actually doing what you are doing, but just a little spice can just make it different. Okay. With this said, the lending laws of your country, of your state, you need to know it. You can start giving out money to anybody just because you have it, but recovery or repayment might not be enforceable because you are not backed by law. Okay? If you are in a country where the government full support or the weight is behind the institution giving out funds, it's easy. If it's the other way around, becomes a problem. That's why you see in some instances the government are more sympathetic to customers, and at the end of it, when the customer can't pay, you get back to the court and they will tell you, okay, you can't pay, give him more time. A loan that otherwise should have taken 6 months is now taking 6 years. Okay, so you need to understand the lending law. You need to understand what criteria, what requirement will put you in good standing with the law, so that once you are enforcing repayment, it's easy for you. And what the law says is what the law says. So you don't have to, you won't be in a tight corner when it comes to, lending regulations of your particular country, nation, states, or locality. So take that very, very serious. You need to read. Yes, that's another good question I get. How much do I start with? Oh, that could be a bogus answer, I would say, because how much you start with depends on the kind of infrastructure you want to start with. Okay, if you have 1 billion to start a microfinance bank, and another person is adding 100,000 to start a microfinance bank, it depends on the kind of structure you want to put in place, the kind of market outreach that you plan to touch. Okay, so if you have just little funds, which means your first target should be the retail, your retail clients. You cannot start a loan with a 1 million and you say you want to do SME. The 1 million alone talks about serving just, it's not even enough to serve one SME customer. So if you want to start, you can start with as little as what you have. But first of all, make sure that you don't add your startup costs. If I say startup costs, that's what you probably use to do your business registration, what you use to do your market survey, what you use to put your equipment and structures in place as part of the required capital to start granting loans. So you need to map out all these funds. Okay, let's say you have a 300,000, and out of that 300,000, let's say 100,000 is to rent your office, get your operation. It could be small. You can always start small. Okay, then the remaining 200, it's what you're going to be using to give out loans. In this time, we are talking of an MFI, not an MAB, because for the current CBN regulation, either states, either unit which is tier 1 and tier 2, 50 million capital requirement and 200 for tier 1, or a state 1 billion or a national 5 billion. It's way beyond what you can talk of. By then, we don't ask how much do I start with, because you need to put operational costs in place. You need to put furniture and fittings in place. You need to put quite a whole lot. So that's more capital intensive. But if you are going to be operating in the MFI space, where you can actually get a small space, run it according to what the capacity of your funds, it will just work well based on what you have. Is there a particular figure I can start with if you are going to run a lending MFI? No. Just look at, you can actually start with any reasonable amount that is just okay to keep you running. Okay, so I'm not going to put a peg to it. Costs differ in areas. If you're going to rent a shop or an office you take is somewhere around Ikotu for 500, might be going for 2.5 million in Lekki. So you can see that cost vary. So if you are going to ask how much will I start, it depends on locality, it will depend on the kind of structures, asset, furniture, fittings you want to put in place, and it will depend on the kind of customer that you want to serve. So put that down in as part of your feasibility study. You'll get to know that, okay, this is the cost that I want to be apportioning to this, and this is the cost that we need to go for this. And if you feel that the starting cost might be too much for you, I'll advise you to form partnership. Partnership is key. Two great heads, not just two heads. Two great heads are better than one. So if you feel you have the business acumen, you have the ideas, you have the structure in place, and the funds are not there and the resources are not there, why don't you get someone that have like mind, someone with your kind of vision to run, and but just make sure that agreements are put in place, because the problem of who's going to be the MD, who's going to be running this, who's going to be running that, have to be checked, and that's why a lot of business crumbled in the future because of their partnership disagreements. So if you must run well, if you must scale because you have the ideas, I would advise you get a partnership. And if you are going to get a partnership, you must make sure that you put agreements in black and white. Everybody knows the road they are going to be taking. Everybody knows what the sharing formula is going to be right from the scratch. You can never presume growth. You might believe your growth rate might, astronomically, maybe 5 grow by 5% on a yearly basis, and it skyrocket 50% on a yearly basis. You can't just tell. So at times when these things happen and the customer grows to a certain stage, that's when you start seeing things that ordinarily shouldn't be there. So when you have this agreement on ground, it puts checks and balance in partnership agreements. Let me give you one mistake people do when they want to start their MFB, MFI. Very few. Let me assume is they don't do market research and feasibility study. I was almost mentioning a particular area here in Lagos where I will advise you don't take your loan there, because the mindset of the market is already made up that no, once we can get this loan from you, you're not going to do anything about it. If you like, go to the police, we'll get there, we'll sort it out. Now, because of that kind of a thing, you need to really understand where your market need to be, where the kind of product you'll be selling fits in. Okay, you go to somewhere like Lagos Island where you have markets, goods, where you have perishable goods, where you have home goods, where you have items that are not made kind of for educational purpose, and you are going in there with the plan to sell school products. It won't sell. So what the feasibility study will tell you is that the market I'm taking this business to is not what they want or what they want. So a good feasibility study, market research, will tell you the kind of market you want to penetrate into if that's the product you are trying to offer. Okay, so I always advise, don't just jump into I want to do loans. Just do market research, do extensive market research. It's not market research that you just sit down on Google and ask what's this market about. Google will never tell you what the kind of thing that operates in that market. And if you are going to be doing market research, it's better to get a consultant that have worked in that particular area with samples of MFB or MFI that he has worked with in those regions. It's easy for him to get better report from those MFBs and MFI that can tell you what the market is offering. So don't just say, oh, I want to start loan, I have money, let me just start granting. After all, if I put in 1 million, I'm going to be getting 2 million in the next 6 months. It doesn't work like that. One of the biggest mistakes we make is we preempt what we're going to be getting even without investing. Oh, if I give out 1 million, I'm going to be getting 2 million in the next 6 months. It's not always that easy. There's always an area of margin in your business where not everybody you grant loans to will pay. That's why fintech, online lending has so much interest, because a lot of people are not, a lot of people won't eventually pay back. So what do? So please, the market research, conduct surveys, personal and external will really help you to map out how you're going to be, managing your loans. If you ask me when to start, there's no better time to start than now. Every day, statistics shows that a lot of people are, starting up MFBs and MFI. Some even start before they go into registration. So there's no better time to start than now. One thing I love about the Nike slogan, I wasn't paid to say this, but I tell you, it has kept me moving. Nike, what does it say? Just do it. There's no better time to start than now. A journey of 1,000 miles, take a step. So as long as you take that first step, you will get there. I've consulted from microfinance institutions that have started from the scratch. A lot of them are doing well now. Doing very, very well. So there's no better time to start. Just do it. Yes, I don't have enough fund. I've given you a tip. You can get partnership. But once you sit down at your conference and you are so confident, it will never start. Nothing gets done until it's done. Okay? So you just have to start. Follow the Nike logo. It will help you. Just do it. If you must go into lending, trust me, you need a legal representative. It's very, very key. There are some things you can't do on your own. There are some things, if you want to go into lending, there are some things personally you can't run on your own. Yes, I know the legal department. I can't set up a legal department. You don't need to set up a legal department. You can get a consultant, a legal representative that can run a lot of things for you. And it starts with registration of your entity. If you are registering a limited to run your lending business, you can probably register and do that on your own. But if you're going to be running non-bank financial institution or NGO, NMFI, you definitely need a lawyer to assist you with documentations in the process. So you need to engage a legal representative. And in terms of you can't shy away from the fact that there are going to be legal cases that will come up from time to time. Either you taking your lawyers or your clients or your customers, or they taking you one way or the other. You can't avoid it. So if you don't have that tenacity to attend police station or to attend court, I'm talking about if you are operating these institutions in African countries and not Africa, probably in Nigeria, you just need to have this, standby. When you are starting also, I would advise you to, if you are so good with what you are doing, fine. But if you are having challenges along the way, I advise you get a consultant. Don't just get a consultant, get a microfinance consultant. I've been in the industry for 16, 17 years, and I can tell you, I know the onions in microfinance bank. I know the onions. If I say the onions, where you will press and it will hurt your eyes, get a consultant, a microfinance consultant at that. Your microfinance consultant, probably when you're starting, will help you build the infrastructures, will help you build the process, will help you build the team, will help you with recruitment, will just help you with a lot of process that are just going to guide you. And once you get it right from the beginning, you are likely to get it right throughout. Once you start wrong, you're going to have your fingers burnt. And your first investment, the first capital you invest in your microfinance might just be the last if you're not careful. Okay, so your consultant doesn't have to be over expensive. Just let him know you are just starting. You are starting small, so you pay micro. That's just a joke. So just like I said, get a microfinance consultant. The last, but not the least, I'm going to tell you right now is I love something about microfinance. We have 11 principles in microfinance. You can go online and read that. One of them I love so much is loan is not always appropriate. Okay, we have a lot of people jumping into the space that's not supposed to be in the industry, I tell you. And that's why you see a lot of them are closing down. Even microfinance banks, at a stage, you saw CBN closing down MLBs, 183, 74, 94. And I tell you, more are still going to go down. Don't say because people are doing it and you want to jump into the bandwagon. Just as loan is not always appropriate for every customer that walks into your bank, loan grant is not also appropriate for everybody that just want to go into the business to make money. We have three missions that the microfinance have. One, for profit motive, social motive, and environmental motive. So don't just think of I want to make money, I want to make money. If you understand microfinance very, very well, then I can tell you have the ticket to go. But if you don't, I will advise you to go straight into another business. Don't waste your money and don't give people room to elope with your money. This is an advice I'm giving you as a person. My name is Oster Onyemah, and I'm the management consultant for Lheon Consulting Limited here in Lagos, Nigeria. We have helped a lot of microfinance institutions to start their microfinance bank. We've engaged in a lot of trainings till date. We're still training. We have a lot of resources online that will help you grow your microfinance bank and grow your staff. Like I tell you, you are only stagnant because you are not reading. You only want to give out loans. I think this is all I have for you today. Just tune into the next chapter, and thank you, interviewer, for taking me today. It's a pleasure being with you. Thank you very much. Cletus. Bye.